All right, on this week's episode, we have a Blackman, and I'm telling you, when I say Blackman, I mean Constable Blackman.
I know. Damn. Matt is getting
Jarwin.
hot and heavy. Can we call the police?
Somebody call 000 because Mr. Blackman. Jarwin, more like Jarwin. No, don't. We're going to get arrested. Or maybe that's what we want. No, okay, we need to just delete all that. Thank you very much. Bye.
Welcome to First Things First. My name is Brooklyn. My pronouns are she and her.
I'm Matty Mills. My pronouns are he and him. And before we get started, we'd like to acknowledge the custodians of the land on which we record. And for me today, that's the Gadigal People of the Eora Nation.
And for me, it's the Wurundjeri people of the QLD Nation. Let's get
into it. Oh, we are super excited because today we have a very special guest and we're kicking things off with Police Constable Jarwin Blackman from the Queensland Police Service. He's a part of the new powerful observational documentary series, Our Law on NITV. Please welcome Jarwin.
Hey guys.
Well, I feel like, we're super grateful to be able to speak with you and have you on First Things First. As we know, the relationship between blackfellas and the police can be tricky at times, but this observational documentary series allows people alongside Aboriginal police officers to go to the front line and see these relationships and see what happens and unfolds as you are, doing your job as a blackfella police officer in communities. Yep. Thank you so much for being on First Things First.
Before, I guess we sort of more jump into this conversation, I just wanted to sort of offer you the mic, Jarwin, and sort of introduce yourself before we get started.
Yeah.
I didn't actually ask who your mob is before.
So on my mother's side, her father, my grandfather, he's Goreng, which is from the Bundaberg area there in the Wide Bay, Burnett area. My nan, my mum's mum, she's actually South Sea Islander. So her family, they were brought over from Vanuatu, Kanakas, they were brought over to cut sugar cane a long time ago. And on my father's side, his mob's Waka Waka. So that's from, also in the kind of Wide Bay region, but more so South Burnett, Cherbourg, Mergen, that area, Wondai.
Yeah, deadly.
No, I love that. Well, I'm a Kamilaroi man. So my family from Tamworth, northwest New South Wales. Firstly, I would love to know, what made you become a police officer?
Oh, look, Matty, I really just wanted to get out in the community. Before joining the police, I was working in the federal government and, I was just working inside a lot and never got really to get out and, be helping people out in the community. So that's kind of what drew me towards that. And I also met another police officer, and he was a Murray fella up in Rockhampton, and, he saw me in the PCYC in the gym one time and he come over and had a yarn with me. And then I think I saw him working out at a pub one night, and we just got talking, and he kind of mentioned that I should consider joining the police, and that's how I got here.
I want to ask, this series, Our Law, it's in its second series now, is that right?
Correct. Yeah, this is the second series now. Yeah.
Did you watch the first series?
Yeah, I seen some of the episodes over in Western Australia, and I think the guys, they did a really good job. So when I was presented with the opportunity to do series 2, I jumped at it, and that's how I got here now.
Our Law, obviously, it explores the relationship between police and First Nations people. What were some of your favourite moments of shooting, or being a part of the series?
I think one of my favourite parts is just being able to really share an insight, into my role as a police officer. What I do in the community, how I'm received by the community. Especially being a black fella, and showing how mob receive me. Because as the relations between mob and police in the past haven't been the best. So it kind of gives me an opportunity to showcase why I do what I do.
I guess any sort of frontline worker, there's always going to come up with some complexities and some moments. I mean, I watched a bit of the WA one. I haven't obviously seen season 2 yet, but I'm excited to watch. It's only just come out, right?
That's right. Yeah. It aired on Thursday at 8:30, so they did a double episode, and they'll do a double episode every Thursday throughout this month. And on SBS On Demand, at any time.
I mean, Maddie and I talk about our experiences with and our relationship with the police within our own families. But I mean, I want to really kind of talk about the series a little bit more, and I guess going into it, what did you think would come from it? Not in a TV aspect, but I guess what did you want to highlight throughout the series?
With the opportunity, I saw it as a way to kind of show, the positive side of, what being, a Murray copper, what that can show, like how I can repair the relationship between, mob and the police. We're in a position to, influence, mob in the community because we have that same understanding of our heritage, we've experienced the same things. We just have a understanding of culture. Even growing up, I understand where people's frustrations with the police are. I've experienced prejudice and racism myself throughout my life. So, we have that connection,
What were your experiences, I guess, growing up with your relationship with the police?
I never really had too many issues myself, but, we'd get stopped in the street as young fellas because me and my friends used to skate and we'd just skate around town and that, and, we'd go to schools and ride our skateboards through there, and naturally the police see these young kids and so they stop you and they get your details and stuff, but, and you kind of like, we've done nothing wrong, but being in the job, you understand why they do those things, just to kind of see who's out in the area in case something happens, we might be able to help out and things like that.
Yeah. When I was working with Department of Child Protection, my experiences were very different from being one side of it and, having that sort of scare/fear of child protection. And then working in it, I kind of knew and had that feeling of it. And so it sort of changed my perception, and it also changed how I work and how I guess I wanted to have more of an impact within those institutions, really, and in those departments. Is that kind of how you feel with being and going into being a police officer?
Yeah, so since, I became a police officer, you definitely understand like how things operate from our side, because there's the community side and they see the police talking to them. But then from a policing perspective, we have reasons why we come out and speak to certain people about certain things. It's not always about someone doing something wrong or, we're trying to find out information. Sometimes we just like to come out just to have a chat and, show our presence in a positive way too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Well, obviously there's been a tough relationship between First Nations people and police. There's historical context to this. There's, many years of injustices, not just from police, but from the justice system itself. What do you think is the overall perception, or what do you find that's in the community is the overall perception of police when it comes to First Nations mob?
Look, so being a blackfella, I can definitely understand mob's frustration with police. And, that's going right back to colonisation and obviously the role that police played, removing mob from their country, taking them to settlements, and the things that led to loss of identity, loss of connection with country and things like that. But, at the same time, things, change, and I'm very progressive, and I believe that, the police service need, First Nations police officers to put their hand up and represent our people in the service and kind of mend, any broken connections that have happened in the past. And, moving into the future, we just have to kind of, like I said, we have that understanding of culture, so we can really benefit by, engaging with mob through that. And that's kind of the benefit of being a First Nations officer.
When you were going through the academy, is there a much cultural awareness that is given to officers when they're learning about the relationship, the existing relationship between the system, police officers and the community?
In the academy, no. To be honest, there, it's more so focused on your training, your phase training and things like that. So, in my own opinion, I honestly believe that there could be some kind of education in that department, like that's the Porter training, so that's where it could all be started.
I mean, it's just like, there's obviously a growing knowledge in schools, incorporating language and history, but previously to that there has been no knowledge of, when you're studying at school, you're doing First Fleet, and the First Fleet just talks to how Captain Cook came here and didn't really talk about the truth telling. I think there, I agree with you. I feel like there could be a really great opportunity for a truth telling in teaching our, future police officers, whether they are Indigenous or First Nations or whether they're non-Indigenous. Like, they should be taught the same education around the truth telling of the history in order to, I guess, repair, this relationship that we already see as such a conflict in any way.
Yeah, and I think it's so important too because, that, you know, we're the police. We serve the community, and that's the community all over Queensland, you know. And we got a lot of remote communities up there in North Queensland, in the far north, and in the Cape, and that. So, you know, and a lot of young officers that they get sent up there. So, you know, if they've never really kind of been exposed to mob before, they might be living in, you know, areas down here in the southeast. Well, they're going to get it's going to be a big eye opener when they get up there in the communities. So, I guess having that kind of education before going up there, it'd be really beneficial.
Yeah.
Well, I find that, like, over the years, my relationship, or I suppose my perception of the police have changed. I believe that when I was a younger kid, I saw, you know, frontline workers, especially police officers, as, you know, the saviours in my life who would come to rescue, you know, my family in domestic violence situations. And that was because I had a mum who had, you know, terrible relationships with men who would abuse her. And back then when I was a kid, the police seemed to be my safe place. You know, it was the people who I would want to call to stop something happening at home that was, like, really horrific. As I became older and I understood the injustices of the system, but also the tricky relationship between police and First Nations community, I did change my perception of how I felt about police and policing. And I think that comes down to the fact that I saw a lot of, you know, racial profiling, and I saw a lot of injustices, and I saw a lot of over incarceration of our people. Do you think that your job as a police officer, one of your main aims is to sort of break that cycle of
perception or...
Yeah, well, not even just perception, you know, like having, you know, us so overrepresented on the wrong side of the law. I suppose you're on the right side of the law. Is that, like, one of your aims?
Oh, definitely. You know, like, how do I say this? I get excited when I'm talking to mob out, when I'm out working there on the job, you know, because there's an opportunity for me, because, you know, they see me and they obviously know straight away that I'm a Murray.
Yeah.
And they, you know, I can tell they're kind of thinking, oh, what's the go with him? Like, trying to suss me out. But, you know, yeah, I've had positive, bit of negative, bit of both. But, you know, I look forward to kind of making an impression on there and then, and just, you know, I talk to them just, you know how we talk Murray ways. I just, you know, and I kind of, you know, make them feel a bit more safe, kind of, so I can have a better influence on them. And it works really well. And, you know, I've had a few interactions before where my offsiders haven't had as much luck trying to influence, basically, I suppose, people that we've been working with. And just the fact that, you know, I'm an Aboriginal police officer, it's gone in my favour. And I when I walk away from those jobs, you know, I'm excited that I was able to have that connection with them and, you know, influence them. Just, you know, because they felt comfortable talking to me. So
Well, it sounds to me like you come from a place of, rather than, I guess, you know, enforcement, you come from a place of compassion rather than, I think, from what we know, when people put on that uniform, there is this sense of authority and there's this sense of power. How do you influence, like, your other peers within your, you know, police force? If that's what you call it. I'm not too sure. Like, your...
Yeah, so we're a police service here in Queensland,
Police service, yeah. To do the same, like, to lead with, rather than to lead with authority and power, rather to lead with compassion and care for anyone, really, not just First Nations people, but in general.
No, of course. So, you know, look, being 100% honest here, like, my workmates, they're just amazing people. I can honestly say there's not anyone I work with that don't have the same, you know, amount of compassion for people that I do as well. Like, they're just amazing. So, there hasn't really been a time where I've actually kind of had to pull anyone up or kind of, you know, tell them, hey, look, you know, I think it might have been more appropriate to do things this way. Just talking to people, because, yeah, like I said, everyone's pretty good. So I haven't really had any experience yet having to pull up any of my colleagues, because they're just amazing people, to be honest.
Blackfellas have an issue in trusting an institution that always hasn't, I suppose, been on their side, or felt like they've been able to trust. What do you think are some of the things that could get us more towards that line of reconnecting with an institution that has such a tarnished relationship with us?
Look, I guess something I can think of in repairing that, you know, that trust that's been broken, I suppose, just more things like from a community policing perspective, just kind of, working with the community, knowing who the local elders are, they have a big influence on First Nations youth.
Yeah.
So I think, just taking the time to get to know, who the, respected elders are in the community. So, you can kind of, when you see those young ones, or even not young ones, but anyone really, because, us mob, we all respect our elders. So just knowing that and kind of having, I guess basically just being able to engage with them, but also engage with the young people to kind of, have influence to get results, I suppose.
Obviously, the PCYC had a major impact on young people. I had a major impact on me. I used to go to the PCYC after school. I used to play pool, talk to the police officers, play some sport, go home at 5, 6, have a feed, watch some TV and go to bed. That was my after school, or even on the weekend, you'd spend hours on a Saturday morning down at the PCYC.
Blue light discos for me.
It was
I went to a few like too. Little boogie.
It was a safe place, It was a safe place. It was somewhere where there was, a relationship, a really strong relationship between the police and the young people. Is the PCYC a focus of the police force these days? And if not, do you see that as being something that could come back?
No, look, definitely. We're actually on the Sunshine Coast. So, I grew up out in Nambour there, which is on the Sunshine Coast and the hinterland. And that's just where the Sunshine Coast PCYC is. And I live very close to that.
Yeah.
And when I was a young fella, I used to go to blue lights, like Brooke said. But then they had a lot of programs, and the sergeant there, we had this thing, it was called Wanna Be Deadly. It was a touch carnival. And every year we'd have that, and it'd bring together the community, play some touch footy, and, other neighbouring communities that, have a lot of mob come out and play. So, that's just an example of, a program that the PCYC provided, and it kind of got to bring the community together. The PCYC's got a lot of, good things for youth. We got a boxing gym at our one there. I did a bit of boxing there, actually, so that was good. Yeah. And then just a lot of other programs. In Queensland here, we got a program called Project Booyah. So it's like a 16-week program for youth. They get police mentored. They do things like leadership skills, decision-making, resilience training. And at the end of that 16-week course, they have a little graduation, and it's just amazing.
Oh,
and it gives those young fellas a real sense of achievement, So, and it really helps with that transition from them as young adults, so 14 to 17 into men. So it's just a good example of what the PCYC can kind of
what can offer. I mean, Maddie and I have obviously really positive memories of the PCYC. And it was such a full circle moment when I started working in youth work and was back at my sort of local PCYC running programs. And the ones that you talk of are very similar, I guess. Yeah. And I guess I was a kid, so I never really took notice of the relationship between police officers and the centre itself. I mean, they were just there. And then as I sort of got older to more realise, and then, I've been in sort of compromising positions within my own family experiences where police have had to step in, it never really tarnished my view of police officers, because I feel like they were acting as an intervention really, and a responsive thing. But then as I got older and I started getting more educated about the institutions, and obviously learning and sort of seeing things on the news and seeing things, within other families and other people's experience. Like my family have obviously been racially profiled as well, more from security guards rather than police officers. But there have been some very unusual situations.
And how them security guards want to be brown people too?
Brother, we wanted you. What are you talking about?
We're the same.
Same people. What I'm trying to get at is I see the positive relationships in these centres, like grassroots programs, you can see it. But I think also, this series, Our Law, also shines a light on a bigger scale, I think, and having more positive role models like yourself, showing you are in a position to sort of show people that you want to repair that relationship, I guess.
I suppose it's a way where you can show a different light to the job that you do. And I want to know, what is it that you want the audience to get out of it?
I suppose really just, from a policing perspective, that we really do care as police, and our job's not just there to arrest and charge people. It's so much more than that. That obviously is an aspect of policing, but we have such an important role to play in the community. Just being out there, a lot of the jobs we do, it might just be talking to people and having a conversation. We don't just wear one hat. We're not just police officers. We play the role of many different kind of occupations. There's so much more to it, and you see that in the series. There's a whole range of things we deal with a lot on a daily basis. Domestic violence, mental health, people in crisis, homeless, things like that. So it's just a good opportunity for myself to showcase, and that's reflected in the series. So it's really good.
Yeah.
Does being a police officer and being someone who's on the other end of the triple O core, does it ever make you feel like a superhero?
Oh, all the time. I feel like one right now too. Look, it's definitely rewarding when you can walk away from something and you've made a change, and you just know that someone's life's going to be for the better now because you were the person that went there, and you had that impact on their life. So that is my, I guess, superhero moment. As far as policing goes.
I love that. I had a partner who was paramedic, and I'm someone who would, I think that being able to help people, especially the people who are in vulnerable situations, is extremely important in life, and no matter what occupation we do. But hearing the stories and being able to, know that when you come home at night and you walk through your door, knowing that you've helped someone, it might, be a significant moment in their life where you've saved them, is something that I think all frontline workers, I really admire about frontline workers. So it's a pretty special thing.
I'm not frontline, but I do feel like a bit of a superhero when I'm working with the kids.
Yeah.
It's deadly.
Nice.
You must feel, I mean, I can imagine all the kids as well, at these centres, and they see you rock up being like, Jarwin!
Oh, they love it, eh? You turn the lights on in the car,
Yeah.
And the women will be like, look at this lovely copper.
He's speaking from his own experience. He's saying, these women, it's Maddie. It's Maddie.
Yeah, these women.
Yeah.
Nothing like a man in uniform.
Yeah. You better, he's up over there. Look, he's blushing. This black man's blushing.
Look, we want to thank you so much for coming on First Things First. I mean, we're super grateful for the work that you do. We know it's not easy because of that, existing historical toughness between mob and police. But thanks for all the work you do, and I'm sure that you feel that reward when you are in community with people as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it. Yeah.
Did you have anything that you wanted to say? I know. Sorry, we kind of cut it off.
Look, I'd just like to add, if there's any mob out there that are thinking of joining the police, definitely give it a go.
Yeah.
If you think you have what it takes and it's something you might have wanted to do, don't be scared. Just throw your hat in, because we need mob out there on the front line, serving the community. And like I said, because we have an understanding of culture and things like that, so you'll be in a position to have that influence on mob. So definitely give it a go.
Can I ask a personal question in terms of the training? This is very interesting.
Oh, okay. I'm glad you said in terms of the training there. Well, she said,
how big I am.
No, well, you said, I want to ask you a personal question, and I was like, where's this going?
No, I can only imagine, right? Because I nearly joined the Navy, if I'm being honest. So when I was coming out of high school, high achiever over here. Nah, kidding. I was like, okay, I can either go to university or I can go join the Defence Force. And look at the size of me. I'm 5'2". I'm not very big. And I did consider the police, because I was like, oh, well, I want to work with youth, and I want to work, with making generational change. And how else would I do that? Shut the fuck up, Maddie. I can see you laughing.
No, I'm not. I'm keeping it together. Okay.
Okay, can you talk about what is needed from a training perspective? Because I can only imagine it's a matter of physical and psychological.
Yeah, look, from the training side of things, I mean, here in Queensland, you just finish year 12, a bit of life experience, and just there obviously is the physical and psychological aspects and a medical side of things as well. But there's nothing that's certainly not unachievable. For if you don't have any serious health complications or anything like that. Other than that, it's certainly achievable for anyone, provided that there's no other issues with other things. So
is there no height restrictions?
No, there might. I think there might be.
Yeah, well, how old? 5'2", did you say?
Okay,
Maybe
5'1". I'm 5'1".
Shorter than Kylie Minogue.
I'm
you're right.
156 centimetres, so I'm 5'1".
You might struggle to get over a fence, but
she'd be deadly. You'd be deadly a part of the mounted group on the horse. You could see straight past. Yeah.
Rumour has it is that the gear that you have to put on itself weighs about 10 kilos.
So they say, yeah. I've heard that.
Yeah, and I'm like, I couldn't imagine. I've got to carry boobs around, let alone 10 kilos of gear.
Now, look, I work with... Yeah, sorry, mate. I work with a girl. She's probably about your height, and she gets it done. So I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could too.
I'm real muscly, eh?
I can see your guns there.
Yeah,
sis, you played football. You're right.
I'm good. Watch this space, Jarwin. Coming for you.
You'll be tackling them criminals in no time.
Wait, rugby girls are big girls, tall, mouldy, South Islander girls. I will run it straight at them. I don't care.
Oh,
I'm whatever. Anyways, just a bit of light chat to sort of break it up because we got real serious there for a second.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, anyways, thank you so much.
Do you want to know something? Just one last thing is today when I went out and see my mum and my sister sister said to me, "Didn't you want to be a police officer?" And she reminded me that when I was a young kid, for a good probably 5 or 6 years, I would say that I wanted to be a cop. It was my dream job for so long. So it shifted, and I'm obviously not one, but it was. I think there's something about that occupation that as a kid you sort of have a fleeting moment with, and I think most people sort of have that little moment of, I want to be a police officer one day, and
Yeah.
I think people are attracted to it, wanting to help people. They see the lights and the sirens and the ambulance and the and the paramedics, and it's all very appealing to young children. So I don't blame you, Maddie.
What about your acting career, Jarwin? Now that you've been on TV, are you considering going into more TV sort of work?
Stay away from TV presenting. You'll take my job.
Well, look, I'm still working. I haven't had any other offers yet. So, I'm still holding out for that. And maybe I'll get an early retirement from the police, but we'll see how we go.
Well, I'm really excited to watch season 2 of Our Law. The season is already out. Came out on May 9th. And where can we watch it?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's on NITV SBS Thursdays 8:30, but you can watch it anytime on SBS On Demand for free. You just sign up, go on there. Series 2 is the one that's just come out, obviously. So go in there and you can watch any episode at any time. So have a watch.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been good.
Okay, Jarwin Blackman. Jeez. Okay.
Oh, damn, boy.
I've never seen a hot... Yeah, I was like, I've got some weird police fetish now.
Oh, yeah.
On that note, okay, that's all we have time for today. Thank you so much for listening to First Things First. If you love what you hear, leave us a rating and a review. And if you want us to cover anything on the pod, reach out via our socials.
Brooke's handle is @Brooke.Blowton. Mine is @It'sMaddieMills. And that was a loose episode. I'm out. Bye.
Bye.